What happens when the city's most feared mafia boss stumbles into the one place no one could have imagined, a kindergarten? Innocence collides with terror, and legends are born in the shadows. Tonight, you'll witness a story of betrayal, survival, and a downfall so ironic it could only be fate. Before we dive into the kindergarten siege, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you won't want to miss the twists, the atmosphere, and the cinematic storytelling we're about to unleash. Now, let's step into the classroom where fear met crayons, and destiny was rewritten. The kindergarten siege. Don Vescari had lived his life in the shadows. The city whispered his name like a curse, a ghostly echo that traveled through alleys and back rooms. He was the kind of man whose empire was built not on bricks but on fear, whose fortune was measured in silence and obedience. That night, the shadows betrayed him. A chase through the labyrinth of streets left him cornered, his men scattered, his enemies closing in. He pushed through a door, expecting the familiar darkness of a warehouse or a safe house. Instead, he stumbled into light. The brightness was blinding. Rainbows painted the walls. Tiny chairs stood in neat rows like toy soldiers. The air smelled of crayons, glue, and warm milk. Children's laughter froze mid-air, cut short as if the sound itself had been strangled. Silence fell heavy, broken only by the soft whimper of a child. Mama. Don's boots echoed against the polished floor. His eyes darted across the room, adjusting to the surreal sight. Posters of smiling suns and alphabet letters mocked him with their innocence. The children stared, wide-eyed, their play interrupted by the intrusion of a man whose presence carried the weight of violence. Parents rushed in from the hallway, alarmed by the sudden silence. One mother's voice cracked with panic. "What is happening here?" Don's snarl cut through the air. "Not a word to the police. One call, and you'll never see daylight again." The threat hung like smoke. Mothers clutched their babies tighter, fathers stepped forward instinctively, shielding their children. The cries rose, relentless, echoing like sirens of innocence. Another parent pleaded, voice trembling, "Please, they're just babies. Put the guns down." But Don Vescari was not a man who put anything down. He was a man who took, who consumed, who devoured. Minutes stretched into hours. The tension was suffocating. The cries of children became a chorus, relentless and piercing. Outside, sirens wailed. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows, painting the classroom in alternating hues of dread. Don's fury erupted. Who betrayed me? Who called them? A father, his voice defiant despite the fear, answered, "You can't stop them. They're already here." The mafia boss's eyes blazed. Betrayal was his deepest wound. The doors burst open. Police stormed in, weapons raised, voices commanding, "Drop your weapons." Hands in the air. Chaos exploded. Parents shielded children, officers shouted, the room became a storm of movement and sound. And then, impossibly, Don Vescari was gone. No broken window, no forced door, just absence. He had vanished like smoke dissolving into the night. To some, he was a phantom. To others, a curse. But to those inside the kindergarten, he was terror incarnate, and then nothing at all. On the teacher's desk lay stacks of cash and glittering jewels, abandoned in the chaos. One teacher, trembling, whispered to herself, "Oh my God, all this money." Her hands shook as she swept the loot into her bag. The police searched in vain for the vanished boss, their eyes blind to the quiet theft unfolding behind them. She slipped out through a side door, unnoticed, her heart pounding with every step. The streets were empty, the night heavy with silence. She ran, clutching the bag, her breath ragged. "I can't go back. Not now. Not ever. This is my chance." Her footsteps echoed against the pavement, fading into the distance. The sirens grew faint, swallowed by the city's vastness. She vanished into the night, unseen by parents or police, carrying with her the fortune of a mafia empire. Days turned into weeks. In a distant town, she built a new life. Her home was modest but filled with quiet luxury, fine clothes hidden in closets, jewels tucked away in drawers, cash folded into books. She lived carefully, invisibly, her secret buried deep. The mafia boss never found her. The police never suspected her. She became a ghost in her own right, a woman who had stolen not just money but destiny. And in the end, it was not rivals or law enforcement who undid him, but a quiet teacher who carried away his fortune forever. The feared mafia boss was undone by innocence, by chance, by a twist of fate that turned a kindergarten into the stage of his downfall.